Hi, everybody. Welcome to our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion. My name is Mark Fisher. I'm here with Janis, Gillham, Grady, my co-host, and we're here on a live viewer Q&A live stream and to get your questions and answers and all that sort of thing. But how you doing today, Janis?
Good. G'day, everybody, and welcome. This is our second live stream for 2025. Is that correct, Mark?
That's right. We haven't done too many of those, but we've done quite a few videos. We'll let everybody get into the chat and everything in there. If you guys got any questions, of course, just write in the chat. Just write question. We'll start and we'll answer it. And any subject you guys want to talk about, you know what I mean? We want to welcome people in here right now. Let us know where you're watching from. I know I got a couple people here. One's freezing in Colorado, and that's right here. Vernon, he says, looking forward to your show from freezing Colorado. It's cold here too, right, Janis?
Yeah, it's chilly, but Donna is probably cold up in Washington.
Yeah, here's Donna Jenkins is here. Hi, everyone. Very busy today, but we'll pay attention as I can. But for me, it's like cold here in Vegas. We had a really mild, we got a lot of rain over Christmas but it was warmer. But today I was out walking the dog and I had to have on that jacket. I mean, it was pretty cold.
Yeah, I've got the heat on in the house.
Yeah. Anyway, hello everybody in there. Let's see who else is here. Let's see. Anyway, this is our New Year's Eve, our New Year's end of the year special for everybody here. We decided we wanted to do a live so that people could actually ask us questions and we could talk about the year that's just ending and look forward to 2026 as well. So we want to welcome everybody here. And like I said, if you would get in the chat, let us know where you're from. And we'll get started up with the different questions and things like that. In the meantime, Janis, I was going to go ahead and show a few pictures of recently what we've been up to. Okay. So
okay.
First thing, we had Thanksgiving at your house, right?
Yep. Everyone, Tom and Sita, you, my sister Terry. Yeah, we were all there at Thanksgiving at my house. Aaron was there and Elizabeth.
Yeah, and you cooked a turkey, and you cooked your bacon-wrapped turkey, which you took the bacon off before I could take a photograph of it this year.
I know. After I took it off, I was like, oh, no, Mark will want a photo. And then I'm thinking, no, I'm not putting it back on.
Okay, I see it. Hold on, we've got somebody here. Blizzard warnings here in North Dakota, Richard Deneen. Yeah, well, I bet. And it's also on the East Coast. I think there's a lot of snow and things like that, too. And then Donna says, you both look great, Terry. Donna says that. Go ahead.
Right. Janice. Yeah, my daughter just texted me that it's now snowing in Kansas where she is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cold. Anyway, so that was Thanksgiving. And then, of course, Christmas time, you went out of the country. We're going to show you some pictures here. I decided I started doing some walking in some of these casinos here in Las Vegas that I hadn't been to because they charge for parking here, $20 to park your car if you're, which is ridiculous. Crazy. But they suspended it till the end of the year for locals, meaning Nevada residents. So this is at the the Fountain View Hotel, the Fontainebleau, which I'd never been to. It's been open for like 5 years or something like that, and I'd never been in it. So I took some pictures there and stuff. And I've been doing that I've been getting my steps in the morning on Saturday mornings at 6 in the morning, and that's why there's no people around because it's so early in the morning.
Well, also, Christmas time, Vegas is usually empty Christmas. It's New Year's when it starts filling up and is crowded. But also airport statistics show the arrivals into Vegas are down.
Yeah, exactly. And when you flew in the other day, and it was like hardly anybody in the airport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I flew in on Boxing Day on the 26th, and I was like, where is everybody? Then there was baggage carousels that weren't even being used. I was like surprised considering Southwest had offered people money to not take that flight because there were so many people, on the flight, and it was full.
Yeah. Anyway, and then also just to give you guys an update, here's my mother. This is Christmas Day. My mother's now 95 years old. A lot of people ask about her. She's safe and she's well taken care of and all that, but she is diminishing at 95. She can't walk on her own right now. She's in a wheelchair now, but she's safe, and I go see her every other day and take care of her. And this was her. They decorated for Christmas she's in a home, an actual house, a group home, but it's a house where they have 24-hour care, and she has her own room and her own TV and that type of thing. But anyway, she's had a happy Christmas there. So I wanted to people.
Does she still play the piano?
No. No, she can't do much of anything, unfortunately. Taking care of an elderly parent is difficult for people, but I'm worried that she's well taken care of and people are looking after her. And of course I go and see her as well. So
good.
And then Janis, you went on a trip in December, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. On the 2nd of December, I flew to Frankfurt, Germany, and I went with 2 friends, brother and sister, Mike and Christine Laws, and they had family there, and they both spoke German. Though they were born in Australia, their parents migrated from Germany. So I was lucky to have people who were fluent in German. But I did find most of the Germans in the towns I went to or that I tried to talk to all spoke English.
Oh, wow.
So, so that made it much easier for me. Except for, I will say this, when we were going to take the train from Berlin to Hamburg, the train kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and we're sitting on platform 1 waiting. And then there's an announcement, and I suddenly see all these people get up from the seats, and they're running up the stairs and taking the escalator. And I'm like, what's going on? And it's, the train's changed platforms. And now it's been an hour late. And I look and I see a train way down, and I think, well, that's maybe where we're going. No, we got to get up the stairs, go across, and then there was no escalator. We had to drag our 50-pound suitcases down the stairs and try and jump onto this train. And then it's like we get there and we see the sign saying, "Do not board." And we're like, what? But everybody else is boarded. So we finally get on, and it makes an announcement saying, "Do not board. You shouldn't be on this." And it's all in German. And so I'm kind of like, what's going on? And they have to translate for me. And then it says, so everyone gets up and they're starting to get off the train, and then the numbers switch and it is our correct train. So everyone then puts their bag. It was just crazy.
That's wild. Now, you went over there to see the Christmas markets. You were there for 2 weeks, right? I mean, you were all over Germany.
Yeah. And I heard about the Christmas markets, but I never really knew what it was. And it's just these park areas that are set up with booths, and people have their different wares to sell. Most of them are Christmas decorations. And then there's food stands, just loads and loads selling sausages or potato fritters or potato pancakes with applesauce, and a lot of food there. And they have these mugs at the different Christmas markets that you get like it's a hot wine with spices in it. And you have to put a deposit down on your mug of like €2 or sometimes €5 because people collect those mugs. And so basically you're buying the mug for €5 depending on the place. But there's so many different mugs. I got an assortment of 4 different mugs, and then I was like, okay, I have 8 mugs. I don't need any more for anybody else.
And I got a magnet.
Yeah, I got you a German magnet.
It's cool. I'm looking at it right now. It's over on my refrigerator, which is behind the camera.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, and the one in Hamburg, they had they were just all over town, all these Christmas markets. But one of them actually had a cable going across the top and a Santa Claus in a sleigh going over, and it stops and he talks to everybody and wishes them a Merry Christmas, and then off he goes. And the place was a pickpocketer paradise. It was so packed. You had to watch your pockets.
I wanted to add, I picked this photo out of all the ones you've posted because it's the only one that I see some blue sky. I would look like it was overcast and cold the whole time you were in Germany.
It was. And it's funny. Christine texts me from her room and she goes, I got sunburned. Did anybody else? I'm like, what sun? There was no sun.
Was it cold? I mean, like cold to the bone type of
Yeah.
thing, or what? Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely cold. And I wore a big jacket or a long coat with scarf every day and boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely cold.
And then you went to Berlin. That was one of the cities you went to. That's the Brandenburg Gate, right?
Yes. Yeah. Berlin was interesting because I knew about the wall, but I kind of thought the wall was to keep the east side in because it was communist. But no, it was to keep the west side out of going into the east.
Yeah.
And they were like stranded there in the middle, with no way to actually easily get to the west side of Germany. And
and this is you at the gate too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did a hop on, hop off bus through Berlin.
And you went to the old east side too, right? The old east side. Could you notice a difference when you were in eastern portion that used to be communist versus the western?
Yeah, that gate separates it. Behind me is the east side, and the east side was more Russian type buildings, kind of like what I'd seen in Moscow, and the west side was the Allied forces. So it was very different. And then there was the old.
I thought this was an interesting picture. That's the Berlin Wall. You've got these two guys kissing. I don't know who that is. That supposed to be Russian leaders or something?
I really didn't understand the significance of it, except for, I guess it had to do with the banning of homosexuality or something like that. And so now it was being allowed. And so that's a very famous painting. Someone correct me if they know better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you saw Ursula
That's
Caberta.
Ursula Caberta. We'd interviewed Ursula a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half ago. Explain who she is again, so people who don't know.
Ursula was one of the political figures in Germany that was fighting against Scientology and was supportive of trying to help people who left Scientology. And she put on various different events with Mark and Claire Headley and Marty Rathbun and Amy Scobie. And she was very much in with the political scene. And when she came over to the U.S., there was PIs at the airport and a lot of harassment at the airport when she was there. We covered that in our interview. But, she over the years, she's become a very good friend. We'd talked together on the phone a lot, before our interview and afterwards. And I'd never actually met her in person. So she was very excited that I was coming to Hamburg, and she came into town and we got together. We went and had dinner with her family. She had them all come over. And while I was in that part of town, I went over to the Scientology org, which somebody is asking. And it was nighttime, but someone was still there. But I didn't go in and bother them. I just got my photo taken, and I forgot to send you the photo for this. So sorry.
And Hamburg is one of the biggest orgs, I think, in Germany. And Ursula, she was a government official. And basically, because of Germany's past, which I'm not going to say the word, they literally, are trying to keep authoritarian groups out of Germany. And so Ursula took on Scientology years before, and she had all the Scientology materials. Like, she's one of the most well-versed person about Scientology, better than a lot of Scientologists are. And she did a lot of reforms to try and fight against Scientology in Germany over the years, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. Yeah. In Germany, I must say, especially in Hamburg, there were protests going on, very, very liberal type of protest. And very anti, what was going on in the 1940s. Mm-hmm. So they're standing their ground against any kind of movement against that.
Yeah, and then I picked this photo here because you look kind of pooped out after 2 weeks of running around Germany in the Christmas markets and all that sort of.
Yeah, well, that was outside. Mike, when we went to Hamburg, he went and got this probably the most expensive hotel in Hamburg. And I'm like, I'm not paying that kind of money. So I went a 4-minute walk, and what I paid for 4 days of a hotel was less than what he paid for one night. And this was downstairs outside the ladies' bathroom. So we were just
That's
having
funny.
fun.
Listen, everybody, you go ahead and get in the chat. If you have a question, write questions. I'm going to go ahead and start popping up some of the questions here, and we'll start answering them. Anything you want to talk about, Scientology, have any questions about Hubbard or David Miscavige, anything like that, just go ahead and get in the chat, and I'll go ahead and pop up a few of these questions, okay? This is the first one here I've got. Hi, thank you for your work. Your interviews are great. Question, do you think OT levels are worth the money? Go ahead, Janis.
Oh, you put me on the hot spot.
Well, I'm the moderator here.
You know what? It's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
There are people that think it is worth it and they pay it, and there's people who think it should be down the toilet. So,
Right.
you know, it's like discussing politics and religion, and it's everybody's choice.
Yeah. We we're our channel here, we have people that still believe in Scientology that watch our channel, and people that actually hate it and don't have anything to do with it. We're not issuing any opinions one way or the other. We're exposing the abuses and telling people's stories. That's what we do. And then, we go from there. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. Thanks for that question. And then here's another question here. Again, from Vernon Salvatierra, have you thought about interviewing LRH's great-grandson? Who's that? Janis, who would be the great-grandson?
Oh, that's got to be Jamie.
Jamie DeWolf?
Yes, Jamie DeWolf.
Ron DeWolf's. We haven't really, I don't have a connection with you.
Well, I can get a connection to him. I've met him a few times. But yeah, if that's what people want, I'm sure we can do that. But we have such a long list of other people too that we have to interview that knew Hubbard. Jamie DeWolf never met his great-grandfather, and we have other people lined up that did meet his great-grandfather, which I think is more important to get on record through our channel. Yeah,
just so people know, this year, we're just finishing 2025. We've had 1 million. We hit 1 million views total since we started our channel, which was amazing. Yeah, that was the last time we did the live, was on that. But we're at 1,029,724 views on our channel on all of our different videos. And this year in 2025, we did 73 videos. I thought we did less than that, but we did 73 videos, each one about an hour long. And then we actually interviewed 20 people, several of them several times, like Mike Goldstein and Neil Sephardi and people like that. We interviewed them several times. But 20 people were on our channel and told their stories and all that. So it was been quite a busy year. And we're looking forward, like Janis said, in 2026. We've laid out kind of a plan in terms of reaching out, and we'll reach out right now. If anybody's on the channel right now and watching or watches this video later, if you're interested in being interviewed on our channel, I mean, we definitely want you to tell your story. Just so you all know, what you can do is you can email. You can email Janis. I'm going to show this here. Janis Gillham Grady at gmail.com. If you're interested in being on our channel and being interviewed and telling your story, please reach out to us. We're going to be reaching out to several people as well. And the thing is that, we've had 1 million views, and we've done over 370 something videos or whatever. We haven't been attacked at all. None of our guests that we know of have been attacked or had any problems, unless you still have family or something in Scientology, right, Janis? I mean, that's the only thing that I think people should be worried about. What do you think, Janis?
Yeah, if you're laying under the radar because you have members of your family in Scientology, I don't feel you should come on this show, because I wouldn't want you to harm that relationship. because I do know that Osa watches our show. But if you're not under the radar and you've got it, everyone's got a story. And we've had people say, "Oh, you don't want me. I don't have anything to say." And then 4 interviews later, we're still, talking with them because everyone loves their stories. So, and Mark, there's other people that I've reached out to that have agreed to come on our show, and we just haven't gotten to them yet.
That's correct. Yeah.
So I've got to work on rescheduling some of those people. I had one who we were going to do a year ago, and then we had to reschedule, and now I got to get him back on because it's a year. And time flies, and people move on or people die. And
I was just going to say, we had Ant Phillips, who was on our show. He's almost 100 years old, and unfortunately he passed away recently. But we got him on for 2-3 interviews, I think, right?
Yeah, and luckily we got him before he died. He had some good old timer stories.
Yeah, from the 1950s and 60s, and you know what I mean, really good stuff. And it's important to get, if you do have a story, I mean, all of this is valuable for history going forward too. In terms of people, who knew L. Ron Hubbard or who were there in the early days or were around him when he was around. This is information that people will want in the future. So anyway, if you have a story or whatever, like I said, you can reach out to us, and we would love to have you guys on. Anyway, let me pop up a comment here. Linda Golan. Hi, Linda. Just dropping in to say Happy New Year. We'll catch up on replay. Okay, great, Linda. Thanks very much. We appreciate your loyalty as a viewer. Anyway, let's see. There was something else I was going to pop up here too. Here we go. I did that already. Sorry.
The very bottom.
I got it right here. This is from Looped Tape. Thanks for another amazing year of content and being a big part of changing our world for the better. Thank you very much. We appreciate that comment. We're trying.
Thank you. Yeah.
What were you going to say, Janis?
And I do hear every now and again success stories of families being reconnected. Yeah. So yeah, we are making a difference with that. Not big enough, but there is a difference there. And I know the Aftermath Foundation is they're making some headway, and apparently they've got a movie about to come out, which will be interesting, telling different stories on the work that they've done. So if anyone wants to support, if they're under the radar and they can't come out and tell a story with us, support the Aftermath Foundation, the Mike Rinder Aftermath Foundation. Yeah,
Michael J. Rinder Aftermath Foundation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question from KJA287. Question: Is it true that Scientologists believe that L. Ron Hubbard will return? Did L. Ron Hubbard himself ever say that he would return?
I'd have to say, from having been, I didn't see Hubbard during those final years. But having talked with Sarge, Steve Fouth, who was with Hubbard in those final years, though it was said Hubbard was going to return, per Steve, Hubbard said he wasn't going to return. And so if he was going to return, it's well over 21 years, which was what Hubbard had authorized as the leave of absence that one could take when they died. They were to return in 21 years. And I have heard of no evidence of him returning. So he's AWOL right now.
No, and it was kind of inferred at the time when he passed away in 1986 that he was coming back. I mean, we were still in the Sea Org then, and it was like, we're getting the places ready. We're setting up his spaces. We're taking care of all this stuff. And it was kind of like a carrot to basically keep people in line so that they wouldn't leave Scientology. And, they put out the issue, about the loyal officers and all that sort of crap. Again, the same thing. It was a kind of a public relations stunt to keep the public still believing that, he'll come back and he's off doing these target 2 OT levels someplace else, and that was basically, it was just a way of controlling that. But and it actually worked. It actually worked with a lot of the executives like Mike Rinder and Guillaume Leserve and people like that, because they wouldn't leave because they believed in their heart that Hubbard was coming back. And then when he didn't, it was like adios, you know what I mean, for Mike at least, and several other people, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and there's people out there who don't know, Mark, that the loyal officer issue was written by Pat Broker. It was not
Right.
written by Hubbard. Pat
Yeah.
wrote it as a way to cover up that Hubbard had actually left Annie in charge because Pat had been kicked out of Creston and wasn't allowed there until he'd gotten an all clear on the legal front. But Pat made himself loyal officer number 1 and Annie number 2 because Annie didn't feel that she was strong enough to actually lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Donna says, he's LRH is AWOL. Absent without leave.
Right. Just so people know, Donna, I've known Donna since 1968 May, when she came on board the Royal Scotsman as a young kid, and with her sister Annie Broker and her older sister Janis Tidman, and then
Nancy.
Nancy Tidman. Yeah, there's the 4 girls, and then Mom came a little later, I think, and then the dad followed many months. Yeah, Donna's been around a long time, and we stay in good touch with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Cal, I got another question here for you. You from Vernon again. Question, Janis, did you know Mike Rinder's parents and siblings?
I did not know siblings, but I'd met his parents once when they came to the land base. Oh, that must have been in 78, I think it was. It was just at 77, 78. It was just around the time Taryn was born. They came to see her, and I met Eric and the mom. And I did not know them from Australia because they were in Adelaide and we were in Melbourne. And then we left Melbourne in 66 when Scientology got banned in Victoria. And my dad smuggled e-meters across from Victoria to New South Wales to get them out of the state. And that's where they were.
Okay. And unfortunately, of course, Mike passed away this year. We were honored to be able to go to his remembrance ceremony in Florida last, was it April, or it was in the springtime? And we got to see Christy and Leah Remini and all the different people there in Clearwater, right, Janis?
Yeah, it was a good time going down. It was a sad circumstance, but it was nice seeing everyone, and then going down and seeing the bench that had been dedicated to Mike down by the bay, and just reminiscing on Mike and seeing everyone. It was good.
Absolutely. We got a new YouTube watcher here. Happy holidays and New Year, Mark, Janis, and chat. Well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate that. Oh, here's Donna saying, laugh out loud. My dad smuggled meters into England from Seattle.
Yeah, it's amazing what Scientologists will do to make things go right for the sake of Scientology.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Here's another question here from Vernon again. Question, is the Australian Sea Org less strict than the Sea Org in Los Angeles?
I would have to say yes. When I was in the Sea Org, the places that were further away from the suppressive management, the lesser the rules.
Yeah, less of the control.
When we were on the ship, PAC was considered very slack. They took evenings off and they had liberty every week, and it's like. But on the ship, things were tighter. But then once we moved ashore, it was tight in Clearwater and a little tighter in PAC. But once management moved to the Los Angeles area, things got stricter.
I can attest to that because I remember being assigned to the RPF, the Rehabilitation Project Force, in PAC in Los Angeles from the gold base, the international management, right? And so, there was 100 people on the PAC RPF, but it was palatial in comparison to the later RPFs where they were living in the garage and all that. We actually were living in like the main building and dormitories, and we actually got better food and actually Christmas and this is a funny story. Christmas time, the commanding officer of the Los Angeles area, her name was Leslie Epstein, and her husband, Jonathan Epstein, was in the RPF with me and everybody else there, right? Well, she just decided that on Christmas Day, the RPF, we could have the day off. And so we were able to spend time with our family, those who had families. And a bunch of us, we just went to the movies and went out to dinner at a restaurant. And then the next day reported back to the RPF. So it was definitely much looser back then. And Leslie eventually ended on the RPF shortly thereafter with us.
Yeah, PAC was definitely loose. Yeah.
So yeah, that was it was definitely looser in those places. Anyway.
Well, and I remember doing a mission to Sisi, and in the evenings, after 10 o'clock at night, the org's closed and everything, I'd go out dancing with a couple of the CC staff members, and just have a good time and be back at work in the morning. And I did get in trouble in Clearwater on a project for going roller skating. Ronnie
worker oriented. You're worker oriented.
Yeah, things were looser, but I did get in trouble for that one, for the roller skating.
That's funny. All right, here's another question. This is from me, from Vernon. Question, Mark, was your brother never interested in Scientology? No, I have a younger brother, and my dad was a mission executive director of a mission in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, Marlton, New Jersey. And in 1979, my brother was only like 15, 16 years old, and he'd done like the communications course and maybe the HQS course, which is the Hubbard Qualified Scientologist course. But he wasn't even 16 at the time. And my dad got involved with another practice. He got involved with this thing called Ramtha, JZ Knight. And they shut down their mission. And so my dad and his second wife and everybody at the mission, they all got declared suppressive people by the Guardian's office. So my brother at 16 or 15, I don't know that he was ever actually officially declared, but he basically went that direction. So I had to disconnect from my dad and my brother at that time because I was in the Sea Org and I wanted to, go work with Hubbard. So it took about 12, 13 years until I finally left Scientology that I reconnected with my brother. So he never really was interested and involved after that, and he eventually the Ramtha thing lasted a short period of time for him. Anyway, thanks for that question. All right, we got another one here. Let's see here. Here we go. Question from. Did I do that? Yeah. No, wait, no. It's the same. KJ287. Who did LRH put in charge after he passed away? Pat or someone else?
He left.
He didn't put anybody,
Annie.
Really. Yeah.
Well,
Annie,
he left Annie as the inspector general. She was left in charge, and she had all of RTC to help her enforce the copyright and hold control of Scientology. But he also had watchdog committee in place, and he had executive director in place with the executive strata. He had management all in place, and he'd even had projects and missions fired to do that, of which David Miscavige was the mission ops. So David knew exactly what LRH wanted. And after LRH passed and it was found out that Annie and Pat were involved in some out ethics going on, that's when DM found his chance to take over, and later on slowly started dismantling everything his missions had put in place per the LRH instructions on having a watchdog committee and the executive strata and all this stuff. So everything was covered.
Yeah, there was no chairman of the board on any of the org boards. Organization boards. That position was created by David Miscavige, not by L. Ron Hubbard. And he actually, when Hubbard died, he was in charge at Author Services, which was the for-profit corporation to make money for L. Ron Hubbard. That was David Miscavige's actual position. Okay, he had a Sea Org position of Special Project Ops, which was kind of this nefarious sort of like, you know, floating position, right? But he created this whole chairman of the board crap. That didn't exist. That wasn't a Hubbard thing. Anyway.
Right.
All right, next question here. How are all the dogs? I missed the shorts.
My boys are doing good. They're one on the couch, one on the floor behind me. I've had them, 3 years now. So, wow. Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, because I got them a year after Paul had passed. And yeah, so I've had them for 3 years, and they're great company. They don't like going for walks. Who has a dog that doesn't like to go for a walk? I do. You know, it's like I get the leash and they both go and get on the couch. But if they see me pick up my car keys, they're all excited and they want to jump in the back and go for a drive. And I'll take them up to my sister's ranch and they'll go play with her dogs. But yeah, they're a little strange.
Yeah, Misha's just laying down over here right now. She's still as energetic as ever. She's 5.5. She'll be 6 years old in May, and she keeps me busy. I have to walk her, you know, at least 4 times a day, you know, she's doing great. She's a good dog. She loves to bark at people walking by my patio, which is right out here. I know you guys have heard her before. She sits out there because I live in a condo, and basically my front door, there's a patio that's sort of fenced in, you know, where she can just lay out there. At this time of year, she loves it because it's cold. You know, obviously because we live in Vegas, when it's 100 degrees in the summertime, she doesn't like it with her big fur coat, but she still will lay out there. But now she loves it, so I have to keep the door open. So I'm in a Hawaiian shirt right now, but generally I'm bundled up if it's really cold at night because I have to leave the door open for her. I don't have a doggy door for her to get in and out. So, but yeah, she's doing really good. So thanks for asking about that. And here's again from YouTube watcher here comment, Mark. I continue to hope that you can reconnect with Stacy, the Stacy Young. Janis, I hope you can reconnect with Heber. Hoping for reconnection for everyone with friends, family, and loved ones happens soon. Thank you very much for that. That's a nice comment. I have not heard from anything. You know, I did that show on Stacy, and I've never heard anything back. You know, I'm sure she just is kind of like, you know, that she signed probably papers and documents, you know, with the whole Bob Minton thing where she wasn't going to reconnect or speak to anybody or anything like that. And, you know, she's living her life. So, you know, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, I'd love to reconnect with Heber, but I actually don't, you know, I don't feel that will happen. He's got dementia that he doesn't, from what I hear, he's not connected with his environment. He doesn't know what's going on. So who knows if I show up, if he'd even remember who I was. I don't know how bad it is. I do know there's a family member from the Mormon side that has been in touch with him. And that's where I kind of got that information on a roundabout way. But no, I'm having trouble trying to find out what nursing home he is in. So yeah. If I can get that information, I'll be there to, you know, see him.
How old do you think he is now? Is he in the 80s?
Oh, he was born in 35, I think it was.
Okay, well, he's 89 then.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
wild.
So he's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Ashley Hunt 7716 question, Janis, did you enjoy Germany? Hope both of you had a great holiday. I can't wait to get started on book 2 once it gets here. So
okay,
talk about your book too, as well as Germany.
I've actually got an envelope on my kitchen counter made out to Ashley because I'm waiting for book 2 to arrive from the printer because I ran out of prints. So as soon as that arrives, I will get that off, but it's all labeled and ready to go. I enjoyed Germany, and the people were very friendly. We stayed with some locals, you know, because they were family members of Mike and Christine, and everyone was very helpful and friendly. and the place was clean. So yeah, I enjoyed it there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
good.
and while we're on the subject of book two, I had started doing with AI, doing the audio in AI, and then I found out that some sellers, some platforms like Amazon don't accept books in AI, or they're not given the respect that one would think. So this is my book too. So I actually am now set up on this laptop to do the voice and do the audio myself. And I've started it, and now I just have to get my ethics in and get dedicated and stick to a schedule and do several hours a day to make it happen.
Yeah, and then you're going to relaunch the book. That's the other thing we've talked about in terms of like on Amazon and other places to sell more books. And also, we're going to get Janis out there on some of these national YouTube channels and podcasts, about cults and things like that, because there's people that are on these shows and they're great and all that, but nobody had the connection to L. Ron Hubbard that Janis had. Do you know what I mean? In terms of time and time spent with him and this and that. And it's important for her. She could get her story out there to more people through these nationals, the big ones that are out there. So we've got a strategy. We're going to try and get her on some of these shows, which will also help drive more viewers to our channel and sell more books and make everybody happy anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
And we can sell more vitamins while we're at it, Mark.
That's right. That's right. Don't forget her Outback Naturals multi-liquid vitamins. We just got some more orders on that too. They're really great. I wanted to show something real quick. Janis, I'm going to go back in here and then we'll come back to the questions here in a second, which is at Christmas time, right? You went to, you were spending it with your granddaughter and your daughter, right? And that's them there?
Yeah. That my daughter got married to a Kansas boy, so she's moved to Kansas now, and so I spent Christmas in Kansas, and it's snowing there today, and I had a great time just hanging out with my granddaughter and my daughter. And in this picture, you can see a golden dog in the left and a black dog in the right picture. She got two puppies, they're sisters, and they're a lot of fun, peeing all over the place.
Look at that. She's running. That's her running with them right there, right?
Yeah. That's at my daughter's husband's farm in Kansas.
Yeah.
That's my granddaughter running. Yeah.
And then you've got some other news coming up in 2026.
Yeah.
That's family related. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody?
I do. I'm very excited about it because in early March, my daughter is having a boy. He's going to be called George.
Another grandbaby.
Yep, another grandbaby, George. And then 2 weeks later, my daughter-in-law and son are having a girl. And you know what's funny? Someone pointed this out to me yesterday. I said, well, and that's going to be Gracie. And they're like, don't you remember George Burns and Gracie? Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Well, my Georgie and Gracie. So there you have it. So March, I'm going to be very busy. I'm not going to be doing much in the way of interviews because I'm going to be in Vegas for Gracie's birth and in Kansas for George's birth and going back and forth.
Yeah, and then of course you got Elizabeth running around too every once in a while as well. So you're going to be busy. But we're planning on recording a bunch of shows in January and then into the middle of February. So that way, when she's gone, we've got stuff we can put up on the channel and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So that's all part of the plan here. Anyway, I wanted to share those photos with you and then let you know that. Let's see here. I had a question here. I missed one. Just 1 second here. Oh, here we go. Okay, question from Groovy Butterfly. How can one get their money back from a non-delivered service without being declared? Contact Graham Berry.
You can exchange the services for books and buy the books and then then sell the books.
Actually, on a more serious note, there's an attorney, Graham Barry, who's been fighting Scientology for years and years and years. He's located in Los Angeles. He's had success helping people, get their money back with the whole credit card charging thing and this and that and all that. But he's a member. He's on the channel and different groups and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're really interested in it, I would contact him somehow and see if he can help out. Anyway.
Yeah, and it probably depends on what state you're in too, because Graham is in California, and then I don't know if your money is what org it's with, but talk to Graham, and he can direct you.
And more than likely, I mean, because the policy, Janis, isn't the policy to declare people who ask for their money back or no?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they had to do that. Whatever, yeah. They had to do a whole routing form to get their money back.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, well, we wish you luck with that for sure. But that's what I would do is would be contact him. All right, hold on here. Here we go. Another question. From KJA287. Question: did LRH write any higher levels than OT8? Thank you. No.
He didn't even write OT8.
Yeah, we've done whole shows on this. Yeah.
Ray Midoff wrote that. But, when we were on the ship, let me finish this. When we were on the ship, there was a point LRH said he's researched up to OT11, but then he never released any of it or put it in any sort of form for others to deliver. It just was the up to old OT7. And then later on in 78, I believe it was when he came out with the new era Dynetics for OTs, operating thetans. And that then replaced the old OT7 levels from OT4 to 7. That replaced that. And then he never came out with any more. And then they went through all sorts of notes after Hubbard died and put together OT8. And I remember Ray even said to me, "Oh, I hope I got it right. It was just a bunch of notes I had to try and figure things out from."
Yeah, and what I was going to mention, Janis, is that we just did a whole series of interviews with Mike Goldstein on our channel, where Mike Goldstein is amazing. We did 13 or 14 interviews with him, but you can actually see it because we have some where he actually hooked up with David Mayo, and we talk about on those shows about all these people outside of Scientology, who Captain Bill and people like that, they're all researching their own OT levels to carry on Hubbard's research or whatever, Hubbard's, whatever he wanted to do. But we talk about the history of how the OT levels and what happened with Hubbard after he died with his auditing folders and, gibberish and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, if you're interested in in-depth interviews, really interesting. Mike Goldstein's a really interesting guy. Just go to our channel. We have a playlist of Mike Goldstein interviews, and if you want the later ones, you'll see, because I have a picture of David Mayo with Mike Goldstein, and then other things. He's into other things as well. So anyway, I just highly recommend that to anybody here if you're interested in it. And then while I'm at it, let me do this. While I'm at it, I want to draw attention to, we did a recent interview series with Neil Sephardi, and I wanted to pop this up here real quick, because this was one of my favorite interviews that we did this year, and it hasn't gotten as many views as I thought that it would. So if you haven't watched it, it's well worth watching. And this is his life after leaving Scientology, because he basically escaped in 1976 with nothing, and then he actually had to struggle and work, and he became very successful. And it's a great story, and Neil's a great storyteller and all that. So if you haven't watched it, this is an example of somebody making it happen after leaving the Sea Org with nothing and making his life really, really positive. So anyway, if you haven't watched it, I just want to recommend it. My Life After Leaving Scientology, Neil Sephardi. Right, Janis?
Yeah, it was a very good interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think of Neil leaving, I always think of him hiding his clothes behind the dumpster in the garage, and then grabbing it and climbing the wall and getting on a bus, which takes him down to St. Petersburg, and then it brings him back to Clearwater on the way to the airport. So, and there he is in this.
And he was in the rehabilitation project force for accepting a pair of corduroy pants from Chick Corea, who was a friend of his.
Right.
Anyway, I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that real
Crazy,
quick over
crazy
there.
stuff.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. I know we got some other here. Here we go. Is this it? Yeah. Question from God, I can't read the name. Anyway, question, Janis, did you like LRH? Was he a paternal figure to you? Happy New Year to you both.
Yes, I got along with him well. Yeah, there were times that he would yell at me, and but there was times I knew he had a temper, and I used to tell myself I can deal with it every day before I'd go on watch. I'd kind of pull myself together and decide that I was going to have a successful watch and not get yelled at. But it wasn't necessarily that he was yelling at me. He had a temper. He would yell to me about other people or other situations. That I didn't like, but when he was in a good mood, we'd walk around the deck or talk in his office. Yeah, I got along well with him. I liked him. And yes, he was a parental figure for me. I did not have my father. My father was in Phoenix. I was on the ship. I didn't have my mother. So you grab whatever you can. And he was my fatherly figure as a teenager from the age of 12 to 19 on the ship. And even later when we were in the US. But yeah, that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Thanks very much for that. Here's the next question from YouTube watcher here. A question, any chance your channel will revisit any famous interviews such as Surge and provide commentary and promote their Scientology story? Are they talking about Surge from, that Mark and Claire helped serve?
I don't know.
I don't know exactly. If you're in the, just tell us exactly who you're talking about when you say Surge. I did a couple, I did a live with Mark Headley, and also, and it was long because, how Mark is, and, we talk and it was like 3 hours, almost 3 hours long. I cut that up and did little commentary and chopped it up into a couple of interviews this summer to put it out and that type of thing. And so it was a live that I cut into at other interviews. But as far as like watching other people's interviews and then comment on them, I mean, we haven't done that before, right, Janis? Like take somebody else's interview.
No.
Oh, okay. Sarge is who they're talking about. Actually, I meant Sarge, the e-meter with LRH autocorrect. Sorry.
Oh, with Sarge, Steve Pfaff.
Yeah, Steve Pfaff, yeah.
Well, I know Marty interviewed Sarge,
yeah.
and he has kept that to himself. But yeah. I talked to Sarge many times because he would come down and visit. He and Sanar Parman, who had been the LRH chef. So yeah, there's many stories that we would sit around the table telling each other, which is how I knew about Sarge saying that LRH said he's never coming back.
Right. Yeah, and that's how we found out about the whole thing about how LRH was making Sarge make an e-meter that would shock him or whatever, like electrocute him. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And Sarge was there when LRH signed his will. We have stories like that.
Oh, and we're still reaching out. Pat Broker, if you're out there and you're watching the show, we would love for you to contact Janis. We will talk to you, Pat. Pat, your story, I don't know how old you are now, man, but your story is one that needs to be told. And the place you will get a fair shot would be on Scientology peeling the onion. So if you're watching this, man, contact Janis at that same email address I popped up earlier, right, Janis?
Yeah. Well, Pat used to be a very good friend of mine back on the ship and back at all the different places. He was a very good friend. Yeah,
absolutely. And then here's a question for you, Janis from Vernon. Janis, was there some part of Scientology that your dad stopped believing in before
No, when he died, he still believed in Scientology. I don't think, well, you know, what he stopped believing in was that the current organization was Scientology.
Right.
He knew it wasn't. You know, because there was a PI, a private investigator on us and reported that he'd been visiting us. He was pulled in for sec checking for 2 years by OSA, the Office of Special Affairs. And that's where he actually started seeing something was wrong, but he wanted OT8 so bad. He just kept donating his money and thinking that will make things go correct so that he can get on the OT levels. But DM was not going to let him near the OT8. And so Dad it was like he kept trying to chase that carrot, but he couldn't get to it. And then with me speaking out, he was pulled aside by Marion Dendu and said, you need to talk to Janis and get her under control, and your son Peter Jr. as well, because he just did an interview. So my dad came out to see us, and he was a very dedicated Scientologist, still believing in the tech. And he came to see us, and we're like, Dad, do you realize all that money you're donating is doing nothing but paying for private investigators to destroy our lives and have them follow us and try and screw up our business and send fraud, send borrowers in who want to commit fraud. And from going and actually showing Dad the evidence of that is when he decided that Scientology wasn't for him anymore. He couldn't get on the OT levels, and he was 85 years old at the time. So he came and joined us, and we got him set up in a house in Las Vegas, and he lived the last 8 years connected to family that he had been kept separated from for many years.
Yeah. Did he ever show any not remorse, that's kind of a strong word, but any kind of regret, that's a better word, over those 8 years of the time that he missed spending with you guys?
Yes. Yeah. He did have regret on that. And when he read my books, he was like surprised that that was my life, because he knew nothing about it, because he left the ship when I just turned 12. He'd left the ship and gone back to England and America, and I didn't see him for 5 years. And so he never knew any part of that. He thought we were safe on the ship under Hubbard's protection. So yeah. I was, what we were doing.
Yeah,
you gotta read my books to know.
That's right. Yeah, no, and it was hard for, I'm sure, when you read the book and you find out the story, even on our channel, when we do these interviews, I mean, we interview people and I go like, we were at the same locations, and then I hear their stories and I go like, I didn't know that was going on. I mean, it's just, you never know what everybody's experience is and stuff,
Yeah,
Hey, everybody, if you got any other questions, go ahead and get in and right now and write them, because we're going to wrap this up here shortly. But if you got any questions or comments or anything like that, please let us know. In the meantime, I want to mention, here it is, Janis's Complete Liquid Multivitamins, Outback Natural. Just go down below into the description of the show, and you can order it there. It's great. Just take 2 tablespoons. I put it in a shot glass, drink it down. You get all your vitamins in a liquid form. It's peach flavored. You refrigerate it after you open it, and it's fantastic. So if you don't want to take a whole handful of pills all the time, order Outback Natural's Complete Liquid Multivitamins. And she's got her magnesium complex as well. Magnesium's important. I've been taking it because I was getting leg cramps in the night, and it totally handled it. So you can order that as well at Outback Naturals, or just go down below in our shop, and you can order that stuff there.
You're a good salesman, Mark. Thank you.
Well, I try. You know what I mean? It's just, we got to keep you got babies coming, grandbabies coming and stuff.
Yeah,
take care
that's
of all
right.
Anyway, Janis, have you got any other? I didn't see any other questions here. Anybody else have a question?
No.
Please get in the chat. Yeah.
I've enjoyed this. I enjoy the questions, and I wish there was more people that would get involved, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Got to start
Yeah.
somewhere.
We're just so people know, like I said, Janice, we're going to be very busy, hopefully soon. You know, we've got Janice, we need to finish off the Messenger series. We're right at the tail end of that one. Plus, then Janice has all these photographs. We're going to do a whole series of a tour of the Apollo, right? Of the flagship
Yeah.
Apollo. Yeah.
Yep, we will.
And then we've got people that you're going to want to see. We're actually interviewing somebody tomorrow, and that'll be on our channel here in the next week or so, who just recently left, right? It was in Scientology Celebrity Center in Nashville, right, Janice?
Yeah, I don't know how recent it was. I got to look at her information, but it's one of the most recent people to leave that we'll be interviewing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple more questions now popped in here, and we'll take care of them right here. Peter Anderson, 742 question. Any thoughts on the Riverside Sheriff finally releasing the files on Stacey Moxon's death? Will it lead to an investigation? That's the young lady that, excuse me, who died in the electrical vault.
Yeah. Rick Moxon's daughter.
Yeah. Right. I didn't know. I'm not aware of that. Sorry. Go ahead, Janice.
Yeah, I have no information on that, but I can definitely check into it. But I don't usually follow all that other kind of stuff going on. I've got so much going on with the vitamin business, and someone asked about that. The vitamin business is me. My son he's a nutritionist and he works for another company. So it's just me right now. My husband had been helping me with the formulations, but it's just me right now.
That's right. And then along those lines too, and there goes my earplug. Sorry. 1 second here.
Yeah.
Somebody asked if we're right here. Question, Janice and Mark, are you still friends with Aaron Smith-Levin? You heard from him just recently, right?
Yeah, he sent me a very nice little Christmas Eve message, and I messaged him back. I've never knew Aaron until I did an interview with him a few years back, which is what kicked us off doing this. He's the one that encouraged me to do my own YouTube channel and tell the different stories. And so I've never had a conflict with Aaron myself, and I've seen his conflict with others, but with me personally, we've never had a trouble with each other. And I got a nice little message from him and a nice message sent back.
Yeah, and his channel is focused on other things than what ours is. You know what I mean? We're telling history stories and all, letting people. We do show the abuse stories and that type of thing. But right now, he's really more involved in protesting in front of the Scientology organizations in Clearwater and that type of thing. But more power to him. You know what I mean? We don't have anything particularly against that. But anyway, it's just
I'm not one to do. Yeah, I'm not one to go do protests and that type of thing. That's just not my thing.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the question on that. And then, hold on, there's the next one here. Hope that you already answered that question. There's a couple more here. Here we go. I really love your channel. Thanks for doing this. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it as well. And here's another one here. The Journey 2020. Hello, I have been going over Scientology locations. I had questions for you. I was wondering if there are a saying when you were, I was wondering if there was a saying when you were thrown overboard. Yes, there is, right, Janice?
Yes, commit your sins and errors to the deep and hope you arise a better Satan.
Yeah, you remember that, right? That's like imprinted in your brain, It
was like I Chinese schooled that one.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for that. And then this is from Isla 5000. Love your memories. You're amazing. Love from the UK. Well, thank you very much from the UK.
Thank you.
The UK is our second most watched country. Obviously, the United States, we get the most views, but the UK is number 2. They're second in terms of who watches and from where and all that sort of thing. Okay, I guess we're going to wrap it up here, everybody here. We want to thank you all for being here and watching our channel and watching our show. 2025 is over. It's been quite a year, and 2026 is we've got a lot planned, and hopefully good health and good, good weather and all those sort of things going forward. And of course, we appreciate everybody here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate anybody doing that. If you have any other questions or comments, like if people replay watchers or whatever, and you have questions, ask them down in the comments, and we'll answer them for you right there in the comment section, days later or whatever. So if we missed you, ask the questions, and we'll go from there. If you want to support our channel, you can buy us a coffee. There's a link in the description down below. Any money we get, it just goes to supporting the channel and all that sort of thing. And if you want to become a member of our channel, click the join button. It's different than subscribing. You actually get different benefits. You get autographed books, things like that. And it's another way to support our channel, and we appreciate all the support we've gotten over the last 2.5, almost 3 years that we've been doing this. Right, Janis?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. And, I want to just say, everyone, have a happy new year and a prosperous 2026.
Absolutely. And, we wish everybody good health and good connection, hopefully reconnect with family, friends, things like that. And, we hope you have a great year, and we're going to continue. We're not going anywhere. So look forward to what we're doing. And
I might go somewhere, but I always come back.
We come back. That's the motto of the Sea Org. Oh, that one's imprinted in my brain.
Right.
The motto of the Sea Organization is we come back. All right, everybody. Until next time, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.